Hi friends, let us continue with the topic. Now, we have seen the acts regarding Indian legislature regarding biodiversity. Now, let us see about the Indian organizations relating to biodiversity. The first one is Zoological Survey of India, ZSI. Zoological Survey of India. Right, ZSI. Now, this was established in Zoological Survey was established in 1916. Okay, and it is mandated to do a systematic survey on fauna in India. It has 1 million specimen, right? Now it has the largest collections in Asia. It has the largest collection in Asia. Right, now this zoological survey is responsible for the taxonomy and ecology in India, right? Taxonomy, I mean naming the animals, right? And also ecology in India. Good enough. Now, the next one what we have to discuss is Botanical Survey of India. Botanical Survey of India. BSI. Now this Botanical Survey was of India was established in 1890. Right, now previously it was called as Royal Botanical Gardens and it was located in Kolkata. Right, now the aims of Botanical Survey of India is to look about the survey and exploration of plant resources, listing of endangered species, right, publication of national flora, and publication of data bank and the most important thing is publication of data bank on herbarium is collection of all plant species that are available in India, right, and live collection also. Herbarium means collection of plants in dry mass state. Okay, dry mass state. And also it is responsible for the taxonomy is nothing but nomenclature, naming of the plants, naming of the animals in JSA, right? Taxonomy and nomenclature. Done. Now the next one is zine campaign. Zine campaign. Now what is this zine campaign? Now this zine campaign is a grassroots level organization and it was established by Dr. Suman Sahai. Right, now they are concerned about food and livelihood security. Right, now see here, they collect the genes of the plants and animals, right, for food and livelihood security of the people. Right, now they are concerned with food and livelihood security. I'll write down the correct points, right? Food and livelihood security. Now this gene campaign was started by Dr. Suman Saha. Right, now see here, by collecting these genes, in what way it will be helpful? Now it will be helpful for the farmers in order that if they produce different types of varieties which yields you more quantity, and that will be helpful for the farmers. And also see here, when you produce, manufacture, or when you make different combinations of varieties of plants, then you can have intellectual property rights on this, and gene campaign will be helpful for this IPRs, right? And also see here, with storing of these genes of plants and animals, you can nullify the impact of climate change by making different types of varieties. Impact of climate, reducing impact of climate change, that you can make plants according to the climatic conditions. Right, now this is the importance of gene campaign. Right, now let us go to the next one. MCBT, famous one. What is MCBT? Most of the South Indians can easily find it out. Madras Crocodile Bank Trust. Madras Crocodile Bank Trust. Right, now this was found in 1976, and this was the first crocodile conservation authority formed in Asia itself. It aims for the conservation of crocodiles and also charts out a program for conservation of crocodiles. And the next one, MCBT after, the next one is Salim Ali Center for Ornithology. And natural history. Now you call it as SACON. Now see here, now this is also a center for information, education and research on birds. Right, now it was inspired and named in the honor of Salim Ali, a famous ornithologist. Now this is an autonomous organization. Why it is famous? There is a recent movie called 2.0 made on this Salim Ali also. Right, the antagonist, right, who acted as Akshay Kumar. The cinema was made on this Salim Ali history only. Right, check out that. Now this Salim Ali Center for Ornithology and Natural History, SACON, is located in Coimbatore. Now see here, ornithology means study of birds. The next one is Wildlife Institute of India. Now I think everybody knows about this wildlife. Where it is located? Dehradun. Wildlife Institute of India. WII. Now see here, this was established in 1982 in Dehradun. Now why it was established? It was established for training of forest officials and research in wildlife management. It also has one more authoritative cell called EIA, Environment Impact Assessment. Environment. Now we will see in detail regarding this Environment impact assessment as a chapter itself. Don't worry about this. Environment impact assessment. Right. Now it trains the personnel in eco development, wildlife biology. As I said earlier, this is a training institute for forest officials. Training for forest officials. Right, done. Now these are the organizations in India. Done. Now next is very important topic. Certainly there will be one question on this, right? Wildlife conservation projects in India. What are the different wildlife conservation projects in India? The first one is your famous one, Project Tiger. Project Tiger. Now already we have discussed in general about this Project Tiger in what? National Tiger Conservation Authority, right? It was chaired by PM and it has to be overseen by Parliament, right? You have to look upon this livelihood, all the things we have discussed in the previous video. Now what is this Project Tiger? Government of India has taken a step for conserving of tigers and launched this project called Project Tiger in the year 1973. Right, from 9 tiger reserves since its formative years, now the tiger reserves have increased to 50 at present. Now there are 50 tiger reserves. Now there are 50 tiger reserves in India, right, which amounts to 2.08 percentage of surface area, geographical area. Right, now see here, this tiger reserves are constituted on a core or buffer strategy. Now see here, in a biosphere reserve there will be 3 zones: core zone, buffer zone and transition zone. Now this tiger reserves will be only in this 2 zones, core and buffer zones. Now this is very important, right? One more important point. Now this core area have the legal status of a national park or wildlife sanctuary. All we have discussed this. Now buffer, some limitations, I mean some livelihood activities are allowed in buffer zones, that you know that. Now tiger reserve is a centrally sponsored scheme, everybody knows about this. Now see here, all the tiger reserves will be given in the appendix part, you can look after this, right? The next conservation project in India is Project Elephant. Now this Project Elephant is a centrally sponsored scheme and it was launched in the year 1992, right? Now, and also it provides financial and technical assistance to major elephant bearing states in the country and their habitats. Now what are their objectives? Now the main objective is to protect elephants, their habitats and corridors. It addresses the issues of man animal conflict, I mean elephant animal conflict. Animal addresses the issues of animal man conflict. We have seen many instances that these elephants were downtrodden these human beings when coming on to the cities, all the things, right? Now there is a program called Elephant Census. What is that program? The complete name of this program is Synchronized Elephant Population Estimation India. Synchronized elephant population estimation India 2017 program. Now this is the program to look about the populations of elephant census report. Right, now this is project elephant. Now why this elephant population has been counting now, right? Why? Now see here, due to their decline in population, right? Now see here, only 3000 number of elephants are available in India, it seems. So government have started, I mean initiated to count the exact number of elephants, right? Now see here, these elephants are moving, their geographical range has been widely spread, it seems. Now see here, increase, why increase, this is the crux point, right? Increase in geographical range, so that's why they are counting the elephant census. Now previously these elephants were confined to only areas of Western Ghats. Now recently elephants have reported first time in Manipur, Mizoram, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh also, it seems. Andaman and Nicobar Islands also, it seems. So that's why government have initiated this project. And the main crux point, in order to know, see here, in order to know the animal man conflict, recently the death toll due to elephant animal conflicts were 1465, it seems. This is huge. So in order to know their behavioral changes is due to why the behavioral change is happening is due to environmental degradation or climate change or precipitation. Now this is the program that has been conducted, done. Next, there is a program called MIKE. What is the full form of MIKE? Monitoring of illegal killing of elephants. Now, this program. Now this is an international collaboration program that tracks and trends to know the illegal killing of elephants across Africa and Asia, to mostly conserve their effect, I mean to conserve their efforts to not kill these elephants, right? Now in IUCN also, in CITES also, CITES means Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species and Wildlife and Flora, this MIKE program was introduced. This is very important. Now see here in India, in Satyamangalam forest, the Veerappan is famous for killing these elephants, right? So government have started to save this endangered species on a war footnote. Done. The next project what we will see is Project Snow Leopard. Project Snow Leopard. Now see here, this snow leopard is an unique animal that was found in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh. Now this is also under endangered category. So a project Snow Leopard was started in order to conserve and safeguard their nature on 20th January 2009. Right? Now the next one is vulture conservation. Vulture conservation in India. Now see here, you have to focus on this. A previous question was there on this vulture conservation of India. Now what about this vulture conservation? Population of this vultures has been declined more than 90% in the last decade in India, it seems. Why? The most significant cause is the drug diclofenac is given to animals by the farmers, and this vultures will be feeding on this dead corpuses of the animals. So by eating this corpuses or carcass which was fed with diclofenac, due to that these vultures are suffering kidney failure and death. Right, now see here our famous one. I'll summarize this point. Right, now decline of vultures due to feeding of diclofenac due to feeding of diclofenac contaminated animals. Vultures are suffering kidney failure and death. Right, so that's why the decline of vultures are happening. Done. Now the famous vulture that we can observe is oriental white-backed and long-billed vulture. Oriental white-backed and long-billed vulture. These are the famous one that observed in India, very common in India. Now they are listed in critically endangered category under IUCN red data list. Critically endangered category. Now there is a program called SAVE. Now what is SAVE? Saving Asia's vultures from extinction. Saving Asia's vultures from extinction. This is the program. Right, now this is a consortium for a like-minded regional and international organizations to created to oversee the vulture conservation and also to fundraising for the conservation of vultures. Now it advocates effective removal of diclofenac for veterinary use. Right? It advocates effective removal of diclofenac for veterinary use. Right, now this is the crux point. Right, it aims to creation of vulture safe zones and breeding centers. Now in India there are vulture restaurants where these vultures are provided with diclofenac free food. Now diclofenac free meat, what we call. Right, now this vulture restaurants are there. I'll write it as VR. Vulture restaurants are there. One in Maharashtra and 3 in Punjab. Right, and 3 in Punjab, and they provide diclofenac free meat to these vultures. Now see here, this is very important. Right, what we speak it as bioaccumulation and biomagnification. Right, done. Let us see the next conservation project. The next one is rhinoceros conservation in India. Rhinoceros conservation. Now already I have discussed this in general in the previous video. Right now, Indian rhinoceros unicornis, already I've given the point also. The great one horn rhinoceros is listed under vulnerable species in India, right? Vulnerable species in India. Right. Rhinoceros unicornis, one horn rhinoceros. I write down this also. Unicornis. Now, this was listed under vulnerable species in red data list. Now it is normally found in northeastern India, right? Kaziranga National Park, Manas, Pobitro Reserve Forest are the most important rhino habits. Already you know about Kaziranga National Park. Manas also I have given in the previous data. Now this is the new one, right? Pobitoro Reserve Forest. Now these are rhinoceros habitats, rhino habitats, right? Now threats. What are the threats? The Indian rhino is been poached for its horn, as some Asians believe that they are used for Chinese medicine and also for potency powers, it seems. So that's why this rhinoceros unicornis loss is being happened. And also due to more floods happening in Assam, this rhinoceros population have been decreasing. So to this, Indian government have started a program called Indian Rhino Vision. Indian Rhino Vision 2020. Now what is this Indian Rhino Vision? Now WWF launched this Indian Rhino Vision, which is called IRV 2020. Right now this aim is to increase the rhino population, ensure that these rhinoceros are distributed to 7 protected areas at least to provide their long-term viability. Right now, already you have discussed about a organization called MCBT. What is that? Madras Crocodile Bank Trust. Now this is responsible for the crocodile conservations in India. Right? Crocodile conservation. Already I have discussed about this, right? Crocodile conservation of India. Right now see here, these are reptiles, already you know that. Now see here, they mostly feed on vertebrates like fish, reptiles and mammals. Now India has 3 species of crocodiles, and one of which is very unique to Indian subcontinent, which is called gharial. Now gharial, scientific name of gharial is Gavialis gangeticus. Gavialis gangeticus. Now see here, these gharials are endemic to the subcontinent because they are widely found in subcontinent. Right now see here, they are under critically endangered in IUCN red list. Critically endangered. Under IUCN list. Right now, why they are depriving? Due to the loss of their biodiversity habitats and their ecosystems. Now already I have discussed about this. recently in your newspapers, you can see in Clean Ganga project. After cleaning the Ganga river, these gharials are again appearing to their natural habitat, it seems. Because of severe pollution, they cannot live there. So that's why they are moving out of this and their population has been declining. Now again this Gavialis gangeticus, they are reappearing on the banks of Ganga river, it seems. See here, this is the main aim to conserve the biodiversity. Right now, due to decline in this population, they have given a provision in Wildlife Conservation Act under Schedule 1. This crocodiles has to be conserved, right? And also this project crocodile was initiated with support of UNDP, right, United Nations Development Program, and Food and Agriculture Organization, right, FAO, UNDP and FAO, United Nations Development Program, Project Crocodile. Now see here, there is one more species that are endemic to Indian subcontinent. They are called muggers, mugger crocodiles or marsh crocodiles, which can be observed in estuaries. Mugger crocodiles, right? So the next one what we will discuss is Ganges river dolphin. Ganges river dolphin. Conservation. Ganges river dolphin conservation. Now see here, this Ganges river dolphin is also endemic species to Indian subcontinent, and they are fairly extensive distributed in Brahmaputra region, right? Now due to continuous threats and loss of biodiversity, they are listed from vulnerable to endangered in IUCN Red List. From vulnerable to endangered in IUCN list, right? Now see here, this Ganges river dolphin was declared as, now this Ganges river dolphin was declared as national aquatic animal, very important, right? See here, national aquatic animal of India. National aquatic animal of India, right? So as a part of our national heritage, now this Ganges dolphin is an indicator species for river ecosystem and is at apex of the food chain. Now this is an indicator species for a river ecosystem. Indicator species for the river ecosystem, right? Now what are the threats? Due to continuous construction or more construction of dams and barrages within the Ganga river, now this has drastically altered the habitat of this Ganges dolphins, it seems. And dredging and removal of stones, dredging means removal of sand, right? Due to dredging and removal of stones, sand and debris from the Ganga river, their ecological integrity has been disabled, so their count has been decreased. And also increasing pollution in Ganga river is a main reason for the depletion of this Ganges river dolphins, right? Now what are these conservation efforts? Now to conserve this Ganges river dolphin, they are kept under Schedule 1 as likewise our crocodiles under Wildlife Conservation Act 1972, and it was given under Appendix 1 in IUCN category list. In IUCN category list, Schedule 1 in Wildlife Protection Act, Wildlife Conservation Act, 1972. Done. Now this Ganges River were given as endangered species according to the IUCN category list. Now these are the conservation projects that is taken up in India, right? Focus on this, and these videos are very helpful for your examination. Thank you.